How's it going? Matt McNeil coming to you from the garage. Check this dude out. It is a rainy day here in Southern California, and I decided to take a break from Mr. Dandridge. I got a couple of these guys chilling in here. And why I have three, I don't know. Actually, I do know, but we'll get back to that because it is in relation to this guy. So, sometimes I like to take a break and do something just free form and creative and directionless. And so anyway, I decided to make a couple of these, what I call latex bucket zombies. See this? This is the end of a bucket of latex, and this latex that sticks to the sides is hugely useful for building stuff like this. That's what all of this sort of tendons and kind of muscles and fat and nernies and all of that stuff, that's where that comes from. And one of the things I kind of like to do is just kind of start with a skull. I sculpted a skull mask a few years ago when COVID started. That's what he looks like. And right there he's got, and she has actually been a female more than a male, I think. He's got some fake, like just, I'm storing skin on that one's head. But you get the point. It's a skull mask. And I would suggest that anybody that wants to get into mask making, the first thing that you should really do is try your hand at a skull, because it literally will inform everything that goes into something like this, because let's be honest, that's what's under all of that muscle, skin, and fat. That right there. So if you can make a skull, then it will give you the basics in regard to how to sculpt something like this. But this guy is actually a combination of that guy and this guy. I've done that before. I cast a. I had a partial Jerry laying around that I was running a test on, that I decided to utilize as a skin for one of these skulls, and it came out great. So I decided this time maybe I would do something, and it's really funny because when I started with all of my mask making, I was under the impression that everyone wore their masks. Like the whole idea of foam filling and all of that stuff was new to me. So this one is hollow. These two are foam filled, right? And they'll get a skin treatment in over the next couple of weeks, I think. In order to not look like this. Every one of these is going to be unique and different and all of that great stuff. But this one is, I specifically cast as hollow because I'm going to try to make this a wearable mask. Now, it might be the most uncomfortable 2 minutes of your life if you decide to put this on. But it also probably, knock on wood, might win you a costume contest. So depends on how much you are willing to put up with. So what I've done is, because all of this stuff is a little bit small. That cherry blank actually, I put it on my head before putting it on the Ed head here. I put it on my head and it fit. So the skull underneath is going to make it a little tighter. So I split it up the back, and you see how much area I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fill that area with skin, and I'll figure out a way to make it somehow organically feel like something's going on back here. Maybe I'll put a spinal column or something, ripped out, just to justify what's going on here. But I want to try to make this a wearable mask, and it probably will be the only wearable mask that I take to Mask Fest, but that's the idea. And I've also got to figure out how to see out of this. Now, this eye right now is just a rubber blank that I've just shoved in there just to kind of get a sense of what it might look like. if there were an eye in there, I kind of like the idea of making it, and whoever ends up with this guy, and maybe it'll be me, is gonna have to figure out like how much they want to see out of it. So the problem is, I love the sort of orbit here, the backside of the skull, the optical orbit there. So I really just don't want to cut that out. And I kind of hate the idea that this eye is moving around and this eye is static. So, and I also really don't like the idea that both of the eyes would be cut out. So we'll see. I'm still working on it. As you can see, this latex is still drying, right? So I've latexed all this stuff in. I'll clean them up, and then we'll start painting them. But I'm really happy with the way that this guy is going. I think he's going to be a super interesting, cool looking zombie. And you know, I've seen kind of this idea with the muzzle, the skull muzzle exposed, but you know, I'm kind of putting a thickness here with the fat and the muscles and all of that stuff. So I really feel like that once I get this guy done, and I got to figure out whether I'm going to put hair on him, or it's got to have hair, right? Got to have hair. So anyway, just kind of messing around with this guy. But I think that if all goes well, he will be on a table at MaskFest this year, which I think is in Cincinnati in September. So any of you that are planning on coming out, if all goes well, please come by and say hello. This dude hopefully will be there, and maybe a Jerry, and maybe an Eddie Quist with bladders, because those weren't limited, and quite frankly, I haven't made 20 of those yet, which is great. So yeah, an Eddie Quist, and probably that dude right there too, which is the Scanners guy. Maybe I'll reserve a copy of him in the run to put on the table as well. So anyway, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what to put on a table for MaskFest. I had so much fun being a tourist there last year that maybe having a table could be a cool thing. Anyway, we'll just see. But that's where I'm at, sitting here in the garage. Rainy Sunday afternoon, Los Angeles, California. There you go. But yeah, this guy's coming together. I think he's going to be super cool. And if you could wear this guy, holy moly. Yeah. Even if nobody else wants him, I'll keep him. I'll put him on my shelf, that's for sure. Look at that. Maybe I'll just make one for me. But there he is, all chewed up. If you have any suggestions for names, I kind of always like putting having a sort of a punny name, some sort of like clever, funny, I had a couple of redhead zombies like this, and it was Ruby and Ginger, and then the last guy whose face was ripped off, his name was Terry. So if anybody has any suggestions, I think Claude is a pretty obvious name for this guy, but if somebody has something cooler than that or better than that, that'd be good. So yeah, let me know. But until then, I'm going to sit here in the garage and stay out of the rain. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday afternoon or evening, and we'll talk to you soon.